One of the most important costs in running a restaurant is the rent. The rent you pay and the length of lease you got is the basic lifeblood of your business. Having the right lease contract can also ensure that you get the right price when you sell your business down the track. Let's discuss this further now. The rent in most restaurants or successful restaurants is really usually around the 10 to 12% mark. Some restaurants, maybe 5%. I've seen them as high as 20, 25, even up to 30%. Obviously, it's a dangerous side where they are starting to lose money. If not losing money, definitely. And the reason why most restaurants fail. The thing is, restaurants aren't determined by the performance of your restaurant. No, most cases anyway. There are shopping centres that have performance-based rents, but basically there is a base rent which is determined by the market value. So if you're comparing your rent to someone in the area, how does it compare to not only a restaurant, maybe a fashion shop or a hairdresser or a whatever other type of shop? For some reason, a lot of property owners think that restaurants make a lot of money and think they can charge more. So ensure that you're paying the right rent for where you are. So the number one thing to do is research the market. Like I said before, compare it to other properties in the area, other businesses, rent they're paying, wanting to lease. See what's around. The rents tend to be increasing in the area, decreasing. What's the demographic change? Does it look like it's getting better or worse? Not sure what they're paying. Do your research, work with your restaurant coach, property professional to ensure you are paying a market rent for the area. And if that market rent is a situation where it falls in the 8 to 10% mark of your turnover, fine. But if it's going higher, there's obviously other problems, which we discussed in other videos, as in turnover, marketing, etc. That's another subject altogether. So do your homework. Timing is very important. Time negotiation where you've got some bargaining power. Are there some vacancies appearing in the area? Have there been some declines in rent in the area? Other factors. I mean, landlords notice these things happening, or most do anyway, and they can see things possibly going down. Make sure it's the right time. Are you a good tenant? Are you paying rent on time? Are you looking after the place? Do you appear to be doing the right thing to bring customers into the place? How are you performing? Be honest with yourself. Do you look like you care about the property, care about the business? Situation where you're letting the place run down, the landlord can see that, and they say, well, look, this person's obviously the reason why they're not doing well, they don't care. So they're reluctant to negotiate further with you. They're probably thinking about, well, I'll look at another tenant down the track. So gather your evidence, see what's going on, elaborate on what's happening in the local area. Maybe there's a few things that landlord doesn't know. This restaurant may be closing down the track in 6 months' time at the end of the lease. Find out what the other rents in the area. You're paying $10,000 a month when a similar place down the road in a similar position, they're paying $8,000 a month. Have your argument ready. Get your evidence intact. Prepare your proposal. Clearly outline what you want to achieve. What are you aiming for? What rent do you honestly feel is fair for you to be viable? Rent period. Are you going to do something to the place? Are you going to improve things for you? So you can afford to pay high rent down the track. Be convincing to the landlord. Be prepared to be flexible. Now, obviously, the landlord wants the higher rent and you want the lower rent. Maybe there's a give and take on both sides. So think of which ways you can be more flexible in negotiations and be fair. Know your legal rights. Commercial leases obviously are governed by what's in the lease. Go through the lease. Have your restaurant property expert go through it with you. Discuss it with your lawyer. What are conditions there which can be possibly changed to make it better for you? Consider other things besides monetary value of rental. Maybe you're going to upgrade the place, or maybe the landlord may agree to pay for a refurbishment, upgrade the kitchen, refurbish the restaurant, fix the front, make it more appealing for your customers. These things they can do. Most important thing is landlord is a business person as well. They know the value of the property is determined by the return they get. Same thing your restaurant. The value of your restaurant is determined by the profit you make. And more important to you, the biggest factor in restaurant transactions, well, if not the biggest factor, is the length of the lease and the rent. Because that basically covers your right to use that premises. If you've only got 3 years to go, you're selling the restaurant at a 2-to-1 ratio, twice the annual profit. So if it's making $200,000 profit a year, it's still $400,000 a year. Now, if someone buys that restaurant, they've got to recover their purchase price the first 2 years, which gives them 1 year to make money. It's unlikely they'll take it up. I can assure you it won't happen. Because there's no guarantee that you'll get a new lease. So if you've got no lease, you've got no business. At the same time, the landlord may be having ideas of selling the property down the track, and they know they may have difficulties selling a business with shorter leases because investors want to know they're getting return for a long period of time. They've got to go to the bank, get loans. They've got to know that they'll be able to pay their mortgage over a period of time. If there's a situation where there's short leases there, unless they've got plans to redevelop the property, it's going to be very difficult to convince them to buy it and to get a premium price. More importantly, get a loan from the bank. So take these factors in consideration when negotiating a lower rental for your property. Take these factors into consideration when negotiating with a landlord with a new lease and your rent reduction. Be fair, be honest. Your chances of succeeding greatly be enhanced.